Okay, so number 4, a group of kids compares what they received while trick-or-treating. They find that the average number of pieces of candy received between all of them was 245 with a standard deviation of 32. Assume that the distribution of their candy that they collected is normal. So we need to find what the percentage of kids received from 200 to 300 pieces of candy. Okay, so first we gotta draw our bell curve. So in the middle, our average is 245. And we have to find the percent of kids that fall between 200 pieces of candy and 300 pieces of candy. So we need to find this percent of kids that have candy between 200 and 300 pieces. So when we find the z-score and look up those percents in our purple chart, notice here that it only gives you the area to the left of the z or the value. So that means that we're going to have to find the z-score for both 200 and 300, look up those values on the purple chart over here on our left, and then we're going to have to subtract the percent from this guy from this guy. So let's first find the z-scores for 200 and 300. So z is equal to 200 minus the average, which was 245, divided by the standard deviation, which is 32. Well, 200 minus 245 is negative 45 divided by 32, and my calculator gives me a negative 1.41. Make sure you're rounding correctly. And then if we find the z-score for 300, 300 minus the mean of 245 divided by the standard deviation of 32, we're going to get a z-score of 1.72. And make sure that you're also rounding that one correctly. So if we go to our chart over here, we're looking up negative 1.401, which is this number right here, which is 0.0793 or 7.93%. So that's 7.93% to the left of 200. Okay, then we have to scroll down to 1.72. So 1.7012 is a percentage of 95.73. So 95.73. But remember, this gives me all of it to the end of the curve to the left. So that's why I have to subtract off this much. So that means I'm going to have to take 95.73 minus 7.93. That percentage should be 87.80% of kids in the neighborhood received anywhere from 200 to 300 pieces of candy when they went trick-or-treating. So almost 88% of kids. For numbers 5, 6, and 7, because we were using the calculator for the stat button in 5, 6, and 7, I did those on a separate video that you should be able to see linked in Google Classroom. It should be parts 1, the video, this is part 2, and then I had to make separate videos, and you'll see why for numbers 5, 6, and 7, because I wanted to show you how to use the graphing calculator. So make sure you guys look at those videos, and as always, if you have any questions, make sure you find me before we take the quiz tomorrow, and make sure you email me if you can't have a time to stop in and ask me questions.